everybody, Tim Norris here.
And Carmen Norris.
And welcome to a Kickstarter preview of...
Evolution.
That's right. So what we're going to do is we're going to sit down and we're going to actually play a few rounds of the game, explaining what we're doing in the process so that you get a good, clear understanding on how this game plays out in real time. So without further ado...
let's evolve some species.
Yeah. Okay, here we are set up, and at the beginning of the game, each player will be dealt 4 cards, because you will always be dealt 3 cards plus 1 for every species that's in front of you. Right now, I start with 1 species, Carmen starts with 1 species. And your species board is going to have a 1 through 7 at the top, and then you're going to take a block, and you have population, which is the green, and body size, which is the pink. Put a block in each one of those. That's going to represent the quantity of your species and also the size of your species. So right now, each of us have 1 species. It's kind of a small little critter. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take these 4 cards and we're going to select certain attributes that we want to try to give this species. Now the trick is you can only give them 3 different types of attributes. If you want to ever do more than that, well, you're going to have to get rid of cards and replace it with something new. So what we're going to do is we're each going to go through, select our cards, and put them face down. But at the same time, each of us have to play 1 card in the center, which will become the food source for that round as well. And that will make sense as we're playing here. Now, you do not have to play all your cards. If you want, you can hang on to some. So I'm actually going to hang on to this one right here, and I'm going to play this one.
And I'm going to discard one to add to my body size.
That's right. The other thing you can do is you can discard cards, and what that'll allow you to do is either increase your body size like Carmen did, increase your population, or you can even get another species that you can pop out and go ahead and you would put 1 on the body size and 1 on the population again. So we'll put that back there. So the first thing you'll do is each of us are going to reveal what we have decided that we're going to add to our species. So what I have done is I have given my species unstable DNA, plus they are fertile. Unstable DNA says that I receive a new species card, one of these, each time the food cards are revealed. So I'm going to wait, and then I've also got fertile, and it says that this species is going to gain +1 population every time the food cards are revealed, which, once again, we'll go over that in a second. Carmen?
I've got long neck, receive 2 plant from the food bank when the food cards are revealed, and fat tissue. This species can store food on this card equal to its body size. Typically, your species can only store food on the card equal to the population. But this time, I'm going to do the body size.
Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to reveal the food source. Now, both Carmen and I contributed 1 card, and down at the bottom right-hand corner of each one of the cards is a number that's in the 3 block. Both of them are a number 3. That is the amount of food that is going to be added in here to the center of the board, and that's going to be available for Carmen and I to be able to add to our species board. So, now that we've revealed the cards, we get to activate our cards here. So Carmen's long neck means she's going to get 2 food from the bank to place on her card, which means her animals are already going to be fed. I increase my population with fertile, plus I get another card, species card, that I can add as well and place it right here. Now, because Carmen has the Wampa in front of her, hello everybody, I'm the Wampa, that is the first player marker, Carmen gets to select from the food source first, but because she's already fed,
yes,
she will actually not take anything, which means that I will have free reign with the food source this time, and I'm going to add them to the top of my board here, and I have to make sure I feed all the way up to my population. If you can never feed your population will drop down to wherever it stopped feeding at. Now, that would end the round. The food source will stay here in the center, and then these little food tokens we've gained are going to go in our bag, and they count as victory points. Now what we're going to do is we're going to play a couple more rounds until you guys get a complete hang of this, because you're going to see some neat little combinations that can occur. Now that the new round has begun, you're going to gain 3 cards plus 1 for every species you have in front of you. So Carmen gets 1, 2, 3, 3. Carmen will get 4. I will get 4, and then a 5th card because I have 2 species boards. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take these cards and we're going to assign them to our species again, but keep in mind you can only have 3 above each one of your species. So you can't go too crazy with trying to put out, trying to concentrate at the same time. You can't go too crazy with trying to put out too many cards and trying to create this like uber creature. You're going to have to balance it with between what you think is going to work for the best. And there's all kinds of neat combinations that you can use that makes it a lot of fun. So I am going to do those 3 there. I'm going to do these 2 here.
Oh, I forgot about putting food in the middle.
Yeah, so I'm going to put this in the middle for food, and then I'm going to discard that because I want to increase my body size, and then I want to discard that to increase my, yes, I'm going to increase my, no, I'm going to, yes, my population here. So, okay, so the first thing we're going to do is reveal our cards.
I've got unstable DNA and foraging.
Okay, so we're going to slide you over this way a little bit to try to stay more in the camera. And so now Carmen has foraging for this species. What does foraging do?
Receive 2 plant food instead of 1 when it's your turn to take from the middle.
By the way, he should have come over to me because I'm first player now. Okay, so she would receive 2 plant food from the center instead of 1 whenever we actually do the food. Unstable DNA will also give her an extra species that she's going to lay out. Now for me, I've got foraging as well for this species, plus I have the unstable DNA plus the fertile. Now, here's where it gets interesting.
Oh, no.
I have now brought a carnivore out on the board.
I was not expecting him to do that this soon. Yeah.
Now, well, I probably shouldn't have because I should have actually increased his body size, and I forgot to do that because it's okay, though, because he's got pack hunting.
Yeah.
So I've got a carnivore, and he's got pack hunting. Now, the thing about carnivores is that they have to have a higher body mass than whatever it is they're going to try to eat. Okay, so the pack hunting gives him a +3 body size for that. That's why I remember I didn't increase body size. I had a moment there. Okay, so let's reveal our food source. We have a 3 and a 0, so 3 more pieces of food will go out to the center of the board. And now I am first player.
Trying to starve me,
First off, I am going to be able to do my fertile and increase my population. Carmen, you are going to, and I also have an unstable DNA, which we're going to slide you down one more time to there. And we're going to slide these down so that they all stay in camera.
Well, I could have just put my new species on the other side.
Yeah, but that's okay. And then I want to slide mine down just a little bit. Now you can see that this game can start taking up some space on the board. And I have had out at times 7 different species. So it can get awfully crazy. And then I'm going to put my little cubes here on the 1 and the 2. So now what's going to happen is that we are going to go into the feeding. And so what I can do is I can select from here, but now that I've got carnivores on the board, I need to feed my carnivores. Now carnivores work pretty unique, okay? Now first off, you forgot to take advantage of your long neck ability, which means that they would instantly feed out of the bank.
Oh, right.
Which I got that for you. And then you have fat tissue as well. But that's okay because they're actually going to die because I'm going to eat them.
Right.
So the way that carnivores work is that they can attack and eat any species that is of lesser mass in body weight than them. Now, my carnivores only have a body size of 1, but remember they have the pack hunting, which is going to give them a +3. I am going to go after her species here,
of course,
which is only a body size of 2, which means that I will eat them off into extinction, and because they had a body size of 2, that will then give me 2 food to be able to add to my carnivores, which does feed them. So now that I have eaten, it goes to Carmen, and then she is going to choose what she wishes to eat.
I get 3 more cards because they were eaten. So
yes,
I'm gonna do
because
that
of that, it's kind of a way of a catch-up mechanic because I did eat her into extinction. That is going to allow her to draw the 3 cards, and that helps her to try to stay in the game.
Okay. I would receive 2 plant food instead of 1, but my population's only 1, so I only take 1.
Okay, and then my foraging, I'm going to use that, and I do take 2, so back to you.
And 1 for the species, and I'm done.
I will take 1, and then I will take 1. Okay, so we take our food off of our boards, and I am early dominating this game.
Yes, you are.
And,
okay.
And that can change in the blink of an eye, though. Okay, and then what happens now is, once again, we're going to deal out the cards. And we're going to play just one more round for you. And this will give Carmen a chance to probably get back into the game. And then we're going to show you how final scoring works. So, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. And then we're going to each get, I'm going to get 3 more and Carmen 2 more. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3. And then don't forget, Carmen had a bunch of extra cards that she was able to add to herself. So she was able to do an awful lot. Now, I am going to add this to there, and keep in mind you can only have 3 cards above each one of your species. And let me see, this is going to be tough. I think I'm going to add this here. I am going to put this into the center. And because this is going to be the last round, I'm just going to go all out here. And I am going to get rid of all 3 of these cards. And I'm going to increase my population, body size, and then I'm going to increase population here. So, okay, so that was all 3 of my cards, or all of my cards I played to increase body size and my population and everything. So let's see what Carmen decides to do. And she hates it when I talk the entire time because it's distracting for her, so I'll go a little silent so she can get herself set up. So
got it.
Well, you're all done. Okay, so let's go ahead and reveal our cards. So just real quick on this character, I have camouflage, okay? So camouflage means that it can only be eaten by carnivores that have good eyesight. So unless your carnivore has good eyesight, he is not going to get eaten. And then on this carnivore down here, I have added climbing, which I anticipated that because...
You're going to eat my long neck.
I now have climbing carnivores, which this is the fun part about the game, is that you anticipate what your opponent's going to do, because what did you do here?
I thought I was safe because I gave my herbivore climbing. So I thought he's not going to be able to eat them.
Because only climbing creatures can eat climbing creatures.
Yes.
So that worked out very well.
I gave this one camouflage, so you're not going to be able to eat them.
Okay, so let's flip over our cards. We have added 7 into the food pool. And at the same time, don't forget that will also trigger our cards. So I do gain another species here, or I'm sorry, a population here. I also gain another species as well. And I'm just going to plop that, say, right here for the moment so it stays in camera. And then that is it. So Carmen, you are first to feed. What would you like to do?
I will take 2 for my forager.
And I'm probably going to gnaw on the bones of your guys here. So they only have 1 body size, so that only gives me 1 food. So it is your turn again.
I'm used to having scavenger. Scavenger's a nice little card where if a carnivore eats, you get to eat 2. I'm gonna feed them again. I guess.
Then that is it for them.
All.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I will eat your guys again one more time, and you will lose that point. And then now pretty much the rest of the food is mine. So because I could put 1, 2, 3, and then 4, and then well, actually we'll do that. Okay, because I was not able to feed this species all the way, they would actually drop down to the level of where they were at, there and there on the population. And then we're going to take the food and we're going to drop it into our little bags. Now, why don't we show you how final scoring works. Each of us are going to then score points based upon how many cubes of food we have in our bag. So 2, 4, 6, a lot. I actually did really good to just be doing a quick little demo game. So that's 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And then Carmen, you score points as well for?
For your population size and for each of your modification cards.
Okay, that's right. So I would score 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then do you score 1 point for each species as well?
Yes.
Okay. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. Okay, so that is evolution, and one thing to keep in mind is that the game technically is over whenever the stack of cards run out. We just wanted to do something quick here to give you a good idea and demonstration on how the game works.
Right, so I would have had more time to come back from that.
We would have never came back. My climbing carnivores are going to keep ripping you right out of that tree.
But something else that we wanted to let you know is that the food is unlimited.
Right,
so if you were to run out of, say, plant food, you could always switch to a different cube or something. And it doesn't happen very often.
The important part of why I think that's important that she brought that up is because there's several ways to play this game. You can both be very passive, okay? And you got to keep in mind, the more players you add, the more combinations you're going to come up with. But you could be very passive and both just being... I mean, you could technically play the game, both of you being plant eaters the entire time.
Right.
But that's not what's fun about the game, because you got to realize, the higher that your opponent's population is getting, the more points that they're scoring because it's the more they're eating.
So you want to have carnivores so you can pick them off.
Not to mention that the mechanic where only, each of us are only putting 1 card in the center of the table means that that food supply is going to become tough for plants. Eventually, carnivores have to enter in the scene. It's a necessity.
Right, because if you have carnivores and your opponent doesn't, then just don't contribute much to the middle of the table and try to starve them out.
Exactly. And that's what's neat about the game, too. Every card is a yin-yang, okay? She was able to climb. I was able to climb to be able to rip her out. But it's not just that. If she wanted to, she could have tried to have done the camouflage. Well, there's good eyesight you can give to the carnivores where they can see you. So there's always a balance to the game where, for instance, if my middle species has warning call, the other two on each side cannot be attacked. You can only attack the one in the center unless
your carnivore has ambush, in which case they can attack them.
Yes. So there's always a balance in the game, and that's what's kind of cool about it, is that you're always trying to change or evolve your character or your species to try to, you know, combat whatever it is you think your opponent's going to do. Because let's face it, the food is points. Eliminating your opponent's species is more points for you eventually.
Now, Tim has this strategy where he is always adding more species.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes I think it's more beneficial for me maybe to add to my population because that food's going to give me points. But the reason he goes with species
is because cards are power. The more cards you have, the more variety you're going to be able to use. Because just because you plop down 3 cards in front of your species, it doesn't mean that that's the only 3 cards they're ever going to be able to have. You can change them out. So if I, for instance, if I had some sort of like good eyesight on my, you know, pack hunting, carnivore, good eyesight, but she climbed and she's no longer camouflaged, well, I got to now, get my climbing. I got to get carnivores to climb to be able to rip her out of them trees.
Right.
So that's the thing. You can't have that ability unless you got enough cards. The variety, you need that. Plus, you're able to then upgrade your population. You're able to upgrade your weight. And that's the other thing I think is neat, is that carnivores, the way that they feed is unique compared to the plants, is that the plant eaters all share from that little center source, okay? Which makes it scarce for the plant eaters. Eventually, they're going to fight over that. The carnivores eat off body weight. So if you got a heavy, you know, a big old fat herbivore out there grazing and that carnivore gets you, I just fed my entire board, you know, in one swoop.
You can feed 4 carnivores, which is one big fat heavy herbivore.
And there's other cards too, like scavengers, that benefit from whenever carnivores eat, because then they can just immediately whenever a carnivore feeds, a scavenger on another card can instantly get a piece of that food as well.
That's like my favorite card.
Yeah. So there's all kinds of neat combinations, and we just really touched the tip of the iceberg. You was able to see me sneak up on Carmen and rip her out of that tree and eat her. But there's all kinds of other neat combinations in this game that really, I mean, it just, you sit there and you just start surprising yourself at the combinations you're able to come up with. One of the other things is that as a carnivore, never be ashamed if you have to eat your own species to keep them alive. Because carnivores are important in this game. They bring the balance in the game. And if you have to eat, I don't mean to cut you off, you can sometimes set it up deliberately to have your own species out there, make them a little fat, give them a couple of population for the sole purpose that you're going to eat your own species to keep your carnivores alive.
That's another reason to add more species, is that you can always feed a carnivore with them, if nothing else.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the game definitely is pretty cool. It's one of those games that it does play, I think, a little bit longer for 2 players, but it's still one of those games that it's so much going on.
It doesn't feel like it's dragging.
It doesn't feel like it's dragging at all. So pretty much that's it. That is Evolution, and it is currently on Kickstarter, so you can go and check that out. And as usual, we appreciate you watching.
Bye-bye.
Griffin Gaming, from new releases to pre-orders. Griffin Gaming. Enter in promo code GreyElephant for 5% off your order.